And here we are again at our weekly catch-up, and it's me and Nick on the move, Slaven. Where are you on the move to, Nick Slaven?
One has moved, one's at mother's house.
No, one's at mother's house.
Yes.
Not permanently, I assume.
No. I have another 2 weeks and then I'm off back home.
Ah, is it nice being at your mum's?
It is and it isn't. It's nice waking up and looking out the box window and seeing the cows on the hill, which is really weird. But it's funny having no other people in the house because it's only Martha and I. I mean, Andrew's normally in his bedroom, Bry's either at work or downstairs, but they're in the house. It's different, like being there's no other person in the house, and Martha's just as social as a dead slug.
And Martha's a pussycat, isn't she?
Martha's a pussycat. Sorry.
I love it that there's nobody else in my house. I would blinking hate it if there was.
It is nice. It's nice having peace and quiet and not having to bother about anybody else. Does that make me selfish?
Nah, normal person. So we've had another interesting week. I think I'll start today with our top tip, shall I? Top tip of the week, which we're calling Wendy's Wednesday tip, but yeah, it's Friday, but it's actually on our Facebook page on a Wednesday. That's why. So the tip this week is, which I'm sure some of you are already doing, or perhaps most of you are already doing, is look at how many people are booking or trying to book who are new patients and are in pain, whether it's podiatry, osteo, physio, whatever it is, and want to come in to see you really soon. And you can't because you're all so busy. It's crazy at the moment. You can't get anybody in edgeways anywhere. So I would keep a note of that and see how many people it is, because it might be worth you putting in some emergency blocks, say, I don't know, mid-morning or something. And then perhaps I think perhaps later in the afternoon would probably be better for an emergency block, because then if you've got time in the rest of the day to fill it. If you've got to say 11 o'clock and it's not filled, then you can look at your wait list and slot somebody in, or hopefully, or somebody be able to ring and get that appointment, which you're not going to be done to do if you've got those early in the mornings. That block could end up empty, full stop. So have a think about it, and if you've got enough people ringing that want something in emergency, because if they can't see you, they will go elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And of course, a lot of patients will stay with you for a considerable time and recommend others. So you don't really want to be missing them. So have a think about perhaps putting some emergency blocks. Now, I said I would put them mid-afternoon to give you time, if you don't fill them, to actually get somebody else in to fill them. And that's my Wendy's Wednesday tip of the week on a Friday.
I'm having a jingle written for you for that.
Oh,
Wendy's tip of the week.
Ooh. That would be lovely. I can't wait for a jingle. I've never had a jingle before.
It was going to be a surprise, but I'm terrible at giving the surprises.
Oh, great. Thank you. Do you know what else has been funny this week? I was thinking about what calls have been funny. And we had a real cracker this week that we've never had before. Somebody rang up, and he was a very disgruntled patient of some particular clinic, which I'm not going to divulge here. And he actually said he was ringing from BBC Watchdog.
I remember that.
And he didn't just say he was ringing from BBC Watchdog. He elaborated on that as well, didn't he? And he said, I want to speak to the clinician. And he said, we need to tell her as well that we're keeping an eye on their Facebook page. Right. That sounds really real, doesn't it? That just the sort of thing that BBC Watchdog is going to do is going to be looking at your Facebook page. So, yes, that was our bonkers call of the week this week.
I went onto the client's webpage, the client's Facebook page, and I'm thinking, what are they watching? Because I can't see anything moving.
I'm not quite sure what this gentleman thought he was going to achieve by telling us that he was ringing from BBC Watchdog. I really don't. It was very bizarre. But honestly, we get some crackers of calls, but that was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Or day before? Yesterday. And I think that is probably my favourite of the week, that one. I'm ringing from BBC Watchdog. No, you're not.
Are we allowed to offer these people a chocolate medal for their audacity?
For the audacity, yes, we probably could. Yes, you deserve a medal for being the most, I don't know, creative Matt. No, stupid. just an idiot. Sorry, I've got no other words for him really. Bonkers.
He's not a giggle though.
Yeah, strange. Very. It takes all sorts, and we definitely get all sorts on the phone, and that's a given.
It is.
So, what's the weather with you like, Nick, today in Blackpool-ish? You're not in Blackpool, but
It's hailstoning, Wendy.
So it's sunny, is it? Good. Because the good old Norfolk is, of course, raining again. And apparently it's going to rain here until July. Marvellous.
I am so sorry.
And it started raining when I got my garden landscaped.
It's your fault.
Honestly, since I brought that flipping sofa out there, those bloody cushions have been in and out that blinking box more times than... I've just left them in there now. I've given up. They're in there to stay. And I'll take a crappy plastic chair out instead.
You look glorious sunshine.
In my, yes, 92% chance of rain today, that's all. And at 4 o'clock, I'm off to give somebody a prize in a pub car park. In the rain.
You have wellies.
Oh, couldn't make this rubbish up, could you? You really couldn't. So here we are, flaming June, flaming heck.
Raining June.
Yes. So what else have you been up to?
I went on a really good seminar yesterday.
Oh, great.
Yep, one of our clients had a free seminar, and you know how you read these books and you think you know everything, and you think, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I swear I went to that seminar and I got so many hints and tips. I know nothing. So it was really, really well worth it, and it was really well delivered. It was a really good hour spent.
Excellent. Give us a tip then.
So he came up with the same tip that you come up with.
Yeah, because
I've heard you say it.
I read the same books.
Probably. But it's a really good one because I've actually done it, and it focuses your mind. It's putting the time blocks in your diary. And at this seminar, this gent who held the seminar worked with somebody who had 4 desks in his office because he had 4 different jobs to do in that business. And what he did was he changed desks every time he changed jobs. So it actually focuses your mind, and it works in the same way that the diary blocks work. So that you're in that block in your diary, you have that hat on, you're doing that job, that's your focus. And my God, it just, yeah, it's a cracker.
There's a book, I can't remember what it's called. It's something hats, and it's 5 hats, 7 hats, 9 hats, 11 hats. I can't remember, but it's a number of hats. And that is about wearing a different hat for a different role. And I think it's about physically wearing them. You know, You've got one job, you're employed as a business development manager or whatever you're employed as, but you might have 4 different jobs within that. So you've got 4 different hats, and physically wearing those when you do those things. Apparently, I don't know if it works or not. I have no idea. But yes, it is. Section off your calendar. And also, if you're booking meetings, for goodness sake, don't scatter them through the week. Bunch them all together in a 2-hour period, and then you've got all that rest of the week to do whatever stuff. Even if you don't want to work, at least you don't have to. But once you start scattering through the week, your whole morning's gone with 1 or 2 calls.
Yeah. There was another tip that another gent did, and he put thinking time in his diary. Like once a week, he'd have a block in his diary just for thinking time, to resolve a puzzle or resolve an issue that they were having, just to think. And I just thought, oh, it's a cracking idea.
I do. I've always done an hour a day with that. Every day. Yeah. I do every single day, including weekends. I read a business book for 15 minutes. I listen to a podcast for 15 minutes. I do exercise for 20 minutes, and I have thinking time for an hour, and I do marketing for 90 minutes, and I do that every single day, day in, day out, including weekends.
And why not? Because you can't just, you're a business owner, you can't just have 2 days off, or your business is going to have 2 days off.
Yeah, and I don't work all day every day. I don't work all day every day, but I find that if I'm very organised and regimented like that, it becomes a habit as well.
Yeah.
And it moves, and the business side, it moves our business forward every single day by small amounts. And I know all that marketing that we did last June, July, August, probably going into the autumn, is now created where we are now.
Yeah. It's paying dividends this year for sure.
It is, and things have been difficult, and things are still very volatile, which is really hard to manage. And we dropped the ball, but we're not superhumans.
Tell you what I heard. Did you hear earlier in the week about the plateau? About how it's supposed to plateau? Is it October? About October time. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, because things have been difficult. Calls have been longer. Things have been taking longer. But when we hit that plateau coming on to October, things will actually start going back down again and start going back to normality. So,
yeah, and I'm hoping we can get rid of some of the COVID call bits that we're having to ask 20 questions, probably not that at all, 3 or 4 questions. And when you've done that, you're up to another minute and a half when you've got the answers as well. So that's another 90 seconds, 2 minutes on your call. But hopefully later in the year, that part of the call will go and we'll get back to some shorter calls and a bit of normality.
Yeah, because everything's like doubled and trebled, and it's nobody's fault. You know,
Yes.
It has happened. We've had to adapt. We've had to add bits on, and it's nobody's fault.
No, it isn't. And I'm saddened. I'm going to be very blunt now. I am really saddened about how some people speak to other people and treat people. I thought and hoped that COVID would have improved people's courtesy, the way they feel, the way they think and everything else, but actually it's made them a lot worse. Not everybody, of course. But, I'm starting to think, and I know rest of my team are, sometimes we get an email from people and it's like we're something off the bottom of somebody's shoe. And I have now come to the stage where I'm not going to accept it, and I will start pushing back. My neighbour's girlfriend is a manager at H&M in Norwich on Riverside, and she said pre-COVID it was a lovely place to work. Now, she said, people are horrible. I think a lot of the nastiness that's gone on social media and people behind their keyboard thinking they can say what they like to who they like is now manifesting itself into real life. And it's a real sad thing to happen.
Do you think it's because that also has become a habit? And so that has become the new norm, that whatever they used to go and type, they now do it face to face because it's become their norm?
Yes, I do. I agree with you. I think like we were talking about getting good habits, that this has become another habit, but it's just not a very good one.
No, it's not nice.
And people are starting to normalize it, and that's really unpleasant, and it makes it very difficult. Taking it from our tiny little company, it's really hard if we get an email that is just bleh, and is pompous and unpleasant. And not putting up with it anymore, folks. Not putting up with it.
Well, we're people, we've got feelings, and we are working very, very, very hard and doing the best we can. If our best isn't always good enough, I'm not going to lie and say we don't make mistakes, because of course we do.
We do. But it's attitude that is not nice, and you may not be able to see us, or people may not be able to see us when they email us or talk to us on the phone. Actually, on the phone they're quite different, but email. But it still has that horrible impact on us when we read it. And I have had some of my team are getting quite upset about it and not having it. So be warned. I'll be on the warpath. Anyway, I've got my pussycats here meowing like crazy, and there's a tail in the corner. And I am going to have to go because I've got a special job to do for somebody today.
Oh, lovely. Right, I'll see you next week.
So, yes, lots of love, everybody. Have a fabulous weekend. Clearly, I'm not going to be having a barbecue here. But I believe Scotland is super nice at the moment, but it's football tonight, so maybe they won't be quite so super nice after that. England, I hate football. We'll see who wins. Yes.
It really doesn't matter.
And see you all next week, because I've got to go. Bye.